How's it going, everybody? I am Preston Johnson.
Welcome to
Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV.
You guys are general life philosophy.
That's exactly right. You're a fish.
Qwan, by the way, my producer, Qwan Young, doing a good job. He'll be taking the calls. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, man, how are you?
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the show, Bets TV, bringing you Last Word Cheetah. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV. I am Preston Johnson, your host here in the studios. I was laughing right before we hit record, and by the way, I'm with Qwan Young as usual, co-host and producing. Andrew, who you said has called already before we even went live. Look, right before this, we were like, hey, Andrew's won 4 straight. Yeah. He's on fire. He called before we were even live. This guy cannot wait to give us another winner. We'll take your call in just a minute, Andrew. We got like a little bit of an intro. We'll open up the lines officially for everybody. 661-515-BETS. We do take your calls. We talk through the bets you may like. Maybe the ones you have questions about, I can talk them through with you. We got week 2 college football, week 1 NFL, plenty of baseball tonight too. Then we track your bets throughout the month, which is why we knew Andrew had won 4 straight. We give away cash at the end of the month, giving away $2,300 so far the last couple of months for those that were picking well. So even when like Tom Davis was on that run, and he was calling in like 45 minutes after the show started, Andrew, to the second, I don't even think the link is going live yet on the feed, man. That was impressive.
You ain't first or you're last.
Guess that's right. Man, he must love a play today. Or he's just feeling it, right? He's in a groove. He's like, I can't miss. I got to keep calling in.
I wonder what it is, too, because it's not much going on.
It's just the baseball. Well, but people can lock in a week 2 college football now if you want. Lock in NFL if you want. People have been doing that plenty even since the end of last week. I will say this big day today, Wednesday, we have Last Word Cheetah. That's what we're doing now. But 2 o'clock, we got another day 1 of Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire, because yesterday there were 4 favorites. You know how I typically add a none option on like option D? I didn't think all 4 favorites would lose. It was like a 20-1 shot that all the underdogs won yesterday. And so sure enough, everyone that called in and played day 1 and had the 4 options that were all favorites lost. So we're going day 1 again today, which is all good. We got another baseball slate, and this time we will have a winner, assuming everybody picks every option. There's a chance that everyone picks only A and B, right? And then those both lose. It kind of is dependent still on what the callers end up choosing. But it was funny how that broke down. I had a few people messaging me late. Hayden, he called in for the first time yesterday. I'm friends with him, and he said, what happens if we all lose? I was like, you get to call back in tomorrow, another shot at $25,000. So we'll be running that back here in about an hour. And then Right Angle Sports doing their Steam Morning show. They'll release a college football play at 3 o'clock the following hour. 2-1 start so far for them. They took care of business with the over, Duke, Charlotte, and then I'm missing. Oh, the early Kansas State play finally played out against Stanford. So 2-1 start for them. We'll have that. Whew. How are you doing?
I set up an account last week. Yeah, that's the exact feeling that I have.
Wait, hold on a second. Okay, Qwan said he's never bet before.
Never.
You see me almost hit that round robin, and now magically Quan's like, I got an account.
Listen,
this guy goes 27-13 picking a side in every college football game. I need an account. Someone.
Listen,
look, hold on. How much are you going to bet per game?
That's the question. There's a max of a couple $100, so I'm not going that far.
Dude, your max needs to be like 25. Are you betting your stuff, though? Are you going to actually make the plays? Are you going to mostly be NFL, you think, because that's what you follow?
It's going to be all NFL probably. There's if there are few people that know, but this is my first time publicly stating it, that the Qwan Show is coming to Bets TV on Saturday. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And
I was going to say, I actually respect that. If you're doing your own show, you need to have some coin down, right? You have to represent and back up what you're betting, what you're saying. If you get crushed, it's okay. At least you were betting it. It's better than not betting it. I can get behind this now that I'm thinking it through a little bit. How often do you think, not often, excuse me. Like, what's your volume going to be like? Are you firing one or two plays on a Sunday? Do you think you're going to look at all the props for all the players for all the games? Are you going to be betting like 10?
So
What's your expectation?
the hook for me is I used to do NFL pick'ems with my uncle when I was a kid.
Just who wins the game?
Who wins the game? So each week I'm gonna try to roll through a parlay of NFL pick'ems and see if I can hit one, and then I'll do some straight bets and some other things. It's mostly gonna be me fading the Lions, probably.
That might end up being profitable. That should just be the whole show.
Just
the Qwan Show. Bet against Detroit.
Bet against Detroit.
See you guys,
next week. Yeah, man. Subscribe to the channel.
He didn't tell me he set up an account until just now. It's funny you didn't even ask me. You're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to be able to bet now. All right. Good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Buddy, listen.
If you want to call into the show, 661-515-BETS, you can
I need
call
all
yourself.
the help I can get from anybody. Please.
All right. We can patch through. Is Andrew still on the line?
He is.
Has he been hanging out? All right. We made him wait long enough. By the way, before we go to Andrew real quick, one last thing. It's Wednesday. Typically, I break down the totals that I think are a little bit off versus the current market, the ones that I think were worth betting. And then we're also going to do a little bit of an NFL summer recap since the season does technically start tomorrow. Had someone actually request that earlier today. So we'll go through every future over the summer as we did our previews for divisions. Anything that I hit on, post them back up. People can shop around, see if they can still get similar. Majority of them are still around outside of basically the Washington football team stuff. So let's move on. Patch through, Andrew. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah, man. Thanks for being so prompt with the phone call. We had to needle you a little bit, but you're excited. You're on a run. I think it's 4 straight.
Yeah, man. I have a meeting later, so I have to make sure I get on the line as soon as possible.
Understood. Lay it on us. What do you like?
There's a couple things I'm looking at. I have either one today, but I think I like a couple of college football ones better. The first is the one I'm most likely going to go with is the Miami, and I don't know what the number's at now. It opened at 8.5 against App State, and I think it's probably going to go up before Saturday for sure.
Okay.
But then the other game I was looking at was the Holy War, Utah and BYU.
Ooh. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, this is not last year's BYU team. That team was stacked. It had a lot of just NFL talent. It had a great coaching staff, all of which has been picked from. Utah has always had that defensive that mindset. I think it's gonna be a tight game, but Utah has had BYU's number in the last few years.
I think they were on until maybe 2 years ago, the last time they played. Like a 9-game winning streak, I think, for Utah versus BYU. Look, this is my sentiment about that game. I think Utah is the right side. I'm definitely bearish BYU. It's part of the reason I like the under in that week 1 game against Arizona. A lot of the modeling guys that have projections have this lower than 7. Those guys don't typically bet until like today or even later in the week. I think maybe not, because there was someone that released 6.5 like early on Monday, posted it on Twitter, and it moved to 7. But I don't think this is going to 7.5 before we might see a 6.5 again. That's just my read. It's super early. I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be some guys taking 7 at home with BYU. Theoretically, it is a home game. All right, so that's my thought, but you tell us which one you like more. I'll lock you in for either one, Andrew, but I just wanted to kind of relay. I think we might see 6.5s again with Utah. So maybe worth waiting.
What's the best number you can get for the Miami App State game as far as Miami goes?
8.5 is good. There's still some 8.5s.
Okay. I think I'll definitely do that.
Okay, cool. Well, actually, wait. There's 1-8. Lock them in for -8,
yeah.
Qwan. I found an 8 in Vegas. We'll go -8 on Miami against App State.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy. Part of me thinks I'm dead wrong on that read of the market on Utah, but I've seen numbers from like 4 or 5 guys, and they're all lower. And if they end up betting the BYU side, I mean, it opened up at circa like 4, and I understand why Utah's getting bet, but I don't know. Hopefully I didn't cost them a winner He can, if it goes to 6.5 though, then he's going to get a better edge, Thursday or potentially Friday on the show using 6.5 instead of 7. There's our leaderboard, by the way, for September. Andrew on fire. Carlos, not bad. Ty, is that Ty Wass that calls in, or
No,
there's a bunch
it's
that are tied?
It's a
Okay.
bunch of guys in 2 units.
Who's up next?
Andre, Tone, and somebody else, I believe.
Who we got up next?
Patrick.
Patrick. Patch him through. Welcome to the show. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Preston, how's it going?
Doing well. We going NFL again? I know you've been on a little run of NFL plays.
We are, yeah. I'm building quite the portfolio of NFL
Yeah.
picks here. So I want to put in this teaser because the line's moving on the Bucks. They're still in the advantage teaser zone. So I want to pair them with the Rams. So like a primetime teaser.
So -2 there, and then -1.5 on the Rams. Okay.
Correct.
There doesn't really need to be much of a breakdown. I'll say this. I mentioned it maybe yesterday for a brief second. I don't think this Dallas-Tampa Bay line, if Dak is theoretically okay, should be 8. Now, I don't know. No one knows if he is. Maybe he hasn't been throwing much in practice, didn't play at all in the preseason, right? Okay, maybe it should be 8 then. But I'm a little concerned on the Tampa Bay side. I don't know why, other than, look, this is on the other side of the 7 than I think it should be. So I wouldn't use Tampa Bay personally, but
I haven't checked Twitter, but is Zach Martin officially out
Yeah. I
for
think
the
that's
Cowboys?
I think I heard that yesterday, yes.
Okay.
So that doesn't help either. I mean, he's obviously going to be a factor.
No.
I'm not trying to
Yeah,
tack you
I
out
don't
of
know
it.
if I
I'm
would
locking
play
you
this
in
no.
either way. I just think it's an
I don't
interesting
think
game
I would play this straight up.
for being the first.
Because I think Dallas has a lot of backdoor potential to cover a spread that large. I mean, I don't think I'd ever play Tampa straight up, but I think teasing it down, I feel much safer doing that. Hey, can I ask you about another line move that I just do not understand?
Yeah.
The total in the Bears-Rams game had shot up to like 47 and a half in some places, and it doesn't make any sense to me because I actually played it under at like 45 and a half, I think. So obviously this is going the wrong way for me, and I don't get it.
All right, well, I will say, I'm pulling up the screen for a second, that there was some buyback today, literally in the last few minutes on under at 47.5. So maybe it starts going back down that direction. But my projection is right at 46, so I haven't really been too keen in on seeing one way or the other. I'll say this, especially this early still, relative to when the limits open up at some places, like everyone just sees the Rams and Stafford and think, hey, well, they're going to score a bunch of points. No more Trubisky for the Bears. Like maybe they score more points. No more Brandon Staley, a defensive coordinator, previously with the Rams. He moves over to be with the Chargers. Maybe the Bears can score more points. It seems like just the super public, straightforward angle is, hey, we're going to bet over in this game. We're going to do it early before Stafford shocks the world and wins the MVP. Like that's kind of, I guess, my thought on why it's moved up.
I can see the Rams scoring points. The Bears secondary is not good. I can see the Rams getting theirs. I cannot see the Bears getting their points. With their offensive line against the Rams, defensive line, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey shutting down Allen Robinson, I just don't see it, especially with Andy Dalton back there like a statue. I can't see them getting their points. So I'll probably play team total under on the Bears.
I was just going to say, would you rather bet under 19.5 or something on maybe even get a 20.5 juiced under or something on the Bears?
I would love to get a 20.5.
Yeah. Cool.
I would feel more comfortable with that than the full game at this point. So,
nice. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. We'll see where it is come Friday. But yeah, I'm intrigued now. But there was at a pretty big international shop, like literally in the last, like even 9 minutes ago, there was another hit under. Then like 18 minutes before that, 30 minutes before that. So there's been a little bit of under buyback there.
Okay, we'll see where it goes.
Cool, man. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Take care. All right, who we got up next? Alex from Ohio. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic, actually. Feeling good. What do you have for us? You going NFL, college, baseball tonight?
I'm going to go NFL, and I'm going to take the Patriots against the spread
Okay. It is. Okay, let me ask you this. Would you rather have -3 plus 100 or -2.5 minus 125?
I would take the plus 100 probably.
Okay, I do think that is slightly better. I agree there. Break it down for us real quick. Do you have any thoughts? Fate of Miami? Are you bullish Bill Belichick and the Pats with Mac Jones season? What's going on there?
I think three things really. They have a better head coach. Brian Flores is a really good head coach, but Belichick's better. Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Tua, and they also have home field advantage. And I think 3 points is a little bit short for all those edges.
Do we know Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Tua? You remember who started at Alabama over Mac Jones?
I know it sounds off, but I guess I'm just lower on Tua than the market is.
Maybe his floor at least is higher, but I'm very intrigued. I'll just say this and we'll let you off. The Tua stuff, like crazy injuries, right, to end Alabama. He was just miraculous before that. Then he comes in mid-season, in a weird COVID season where no one got to practice very much. He didn't look very good. Fitzpatrick, they were obviously better when he was under center. They also kind of bailed him out defensively with so many turnovers, put him in good spots and good field position. I have really no idea what to expect from Tua other than I don't think he can be worse than last year. So I'm a little bit weary of deeming Mac Jones, we haven't seen play a game yet, better than Tua, but we will see. We'll lock you in. Pat's -3 plus the 100. Good luck, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
I think that had to do with the Belichick thing, saying that Jones is better. I think Belichick's going to manage him better than Flores is going to manage Tua.
I mean, you would think so. Yeah, Bill Belichick, it's Belichick, but I don't know. Now it's something I'm going to follow. Tua versus Mac Jones. We'll see. We got someone else up on the line?
Yeah, we got Brian from New York.
Cool. What's up, Brian? How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Preston. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing well. Thank you. What are you going with for your bet?
I think we're going to go with the Dodgers tonight.
Okay. That's my team. I can get behind it no matter what. But tell us any reasoning why.
What line do you have for it?
The line I can give you, just money line. It's like -118-ish, right? It's moved up a little bit. So it actually moved quite a bit. It opened more like pick. They're -125. That's the best price.
Okay, I'll take that. No reasoning other than, I had that division bet and I just need it.
Easy enough. I forgot about that, actually. All right. Good luck. Go Dodgers. We'll lock you in for that -125.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Carlos, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Preston? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Hanging in there. Enjoying the calls. Enjoying the bets. Do you have something for us baseball related? I think you got a W yesterday. You're doing pretty well. Sitting in second place. Or are you going to go football?
Yes. Well, I wanted to ask you, just because it's just funny that you talked about your home team, Dodgers. I want your opinion on my home team football team against the Chargers. The line is at 1, pick 'em practically. What's your thoughts? I don't think I've heard you talk about my team.
I liked your team when we talked about it over the summer, just as a general macro. Their win total was 8. I believe they're still 1-8 at -140s. I saw when I looked right before we went live, because I'm doing a little NFL recap later, but most of the market's 8.5. I'm pulling up the line right now that I believe's around pick. Some spots are Washington -1. Some spots are Chargers -1. It's probably about right. I'll say this. I think the Chargers were the second team when we did some early breakdowns for NFL in the summer that I picked basically one team that I thought in that kind of long shot-ish range that would maybe surprise. Chargers are my AFC team. Washington were my NFC. So I don't necessarily dislike or disagree with any of these. I'll say this. The market as a whole values the Chargers as a better team. They have them both teams being slightly above average, but just looking at some numbers briefly, the Chargers are about 2.7 points better than an average football team this year, and the Washington football team's more like 1.5 points. So on a neutral, maybe the Chargers are 1 to 1.2 better. Now Washington's at home.
Okay.
It flips to maybe about pick or Washington -1 at the most. I think it's perfectly fair. So nothing to be had there. Bullish on both teams.
We don't have a home field advantage when you come to Washington, just to let y'all know.
Have you been to a game before?
I have, and I'm going to the Kansas City game. So,
nice.
Yeah, so we don't. Pittsburgh comes in there, it's more Pittsburgh fans. Dallas fans come in there, it's more Dallas fans. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
I actually didn't realize it was that bad. Like
Steelers
Raiders
fans travel well, though.
Yeah.
They're like everywhere.
It's bad.
They're to the point that it's annoying.
It's bad to the point where it's nauseating, but it's neither here nor there. I have no baseball, no football. We're going WNBA. We're taking Phoenix, Atlanta over 154.
I forgot you did WNBA yesterday too, right? Seattle.
I did.
Did that land 10, Qwan? Oh, it was a blowout. Okay. I remember I gave him the one loan 9.5. Wasn't sure if that came into play. All right. You said Phoenix, Atlanta over?
Yeah, what is it, 154 maybe?
Yeah, 154 is the best number. We'll give you that. It's moved down a little bit, so playing against the steam. Any reasoning? Just going with it?
Taurasi's a game time decision. That's a little worrisome, but other than that, I just think they're going to score points.
All right.
Let's hope.
Lock it up. Carlos over 154 in the WNBA. We will talk to you later today, hopefully.
Yes. Cool.
Cool, man. Take it easy.
He's really good at handicapping the WNBA. I don't think he's missed too many WNBAs.
He's probably done 4 or 5,
Yeah.
maybe lost one or two of them, but yeah, he's probably like 3-1, something like that's probably right.
We got Christian.
Maybe 4-1. All right, go ahead, patch Christian through. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's good with you?
Nothing, just hanging. Life is good. How have you been?
Cool. Pretty good. I'm starting to get a little crazy here. I'm just so ready for more football. It's just nice that NFL's coming back tomorrow night. But I'll take a different. Tonight I'm actually going to go a different football. I'm going European football, but it's actually the U.S. I'm going to actually go with U.S. versus Honduras and take USA just money line at -125.
Okay, can you break this down for us? I don't follow soccer closely enough to know anything about betting it. But what's the angle here? It's kind of out of left field.
Oh yeah, no, I follow a little bit of soccer here and there, and it's just that U.S. is starting to get pressured. The World Cup qualifiers have been going on, and U.S. has just not been looking good, and pressure's really mounting on them.
Okay.
And so I think they'll pull through. I think they're gonna actually win their first game, because last 2 games that they've had have just been draws, and these were games that they should have won and they didn't. So I think the pressure's gonna get. I think they feel the pressure. They know it's just it's nut and gut time to get something going. So I'm going with that.
It's more or less a buy low, I guess, to some extent on USA. By the way, are you in Utah or are you not?
No, I'm out in Oregon now.
Oh, okay. Have you been to RSL matches before?
I actually have, yeah.
Okay. I used to go pretty regularly. I love it. They're fun.
Oh yeah, no, soccer. Yeah, those MLS is pretty underrated, and I think it's actually going to get bigger as the years go on, especially when the U.S. Hosts the World Cup in 2026. I feel like soccer's going to blow up around that time.
It's a good call. I know people have been calling for a big soccer boom. It's been slower probably in general, but by 2026, you said, yeah, I can see it happening. I enjoyed going to those matches. They were fun as hell. Everyone gets so into it, like that one South Side. Everyone's banging on the drums, getting into it. Anyway, it's fun. So I was just curious. I know you've been back and forth in and out of Utah some, so go soccer. I can get behind it.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I definitely follow more like English Premier League. That one I could probably give you a lot more information on, but there's not much going on there. So just figure I'd go with that.
All good, man. Thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you later on.
Yeah, thanks. All right, take care.
We have anyone else on the line? All right, patch them through. Sarb, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Preston, how's it going, man?
Doing well. Doing well. What do you like today?
Give me the Titans on Sunday, man.
The Titans, is that what you said?
Yes.
All right, let me pull up NFL real quick. Laying 3 plus 104. I can give you that. Against Arizona.
I'll take it.
Okay. What's the breakdown here for Tennessee and Arizona?
I think the Titans are going to be pretty much elite offensively. I think their defense is going to be improved with the Bud Dupree acquisition. And I'm just not really a fan of Kingsbury or Murray. So I think the 3 spared home.
Okay. I will tell you this. Not me, but who was it yesterday? I'm totally blanking that called and wanted to bet the over in this game. Was it just Patrick? I don't know if he used it as his actual play, but he was just like, why is this Arizona?
Patrick Cards, Titans over 52.
There you go. So he likes the over. If you're right about Tennessee and they're just scoring at will against the Cliff defense, then maybe it lines up. We got a little favorite over correlated somewhat parlay for the callers. Nice, Rob. We'll lock you in for that, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you. We clear?
No, we got Nick from Iowa.
Nick from Iowa. That rings a little bit of a bell. Has he called in once or twice before? He called in yesterday? All right.
Sometime this week.
Nice. Nick, welcome to the show again. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Preston. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. What do you like for us today? You going to go NFL, college football, baseball?
Well, we'll go college football. This is one actually that I believe you mentioned. What was it? Today's Wednesday. It would have been yesterday that you liked on your show. We'll go with Toledo. We'll take the points there. I see mostly 17 everywhere, but I think there might be a 17.5 still. If I'm not mistaken.
Where at? Are you allowed to say?
FanDuel.
There you go. Yeah, if you guys, I saw some Notre Dame money actually come in today. All the 16.5s moved back to 17.
Yeah.
I don't have FanDuel on my screen, but I trust you if it's 17.5 there. I'll
it's minus 115 just for full disclosure, but
easy enough. Plus 17.5, minus 115. What you're thinking, just real quick, I'm curious because my numbers just like Toledo anyways. I think it should be more like just 2 TDs. But I had some. It's interesting. So this is like where the whole like narrative stuff comes into play. I've had people that I've seen say, "Oh well, man, Notre Dame off the OT win, like barely." Against Florida State, like worn down. Great spot to back Toledo. I've also heard people argue, great spot for Notre Dame to back up after they blew the fourth quarter lead to Florida State. So the narratives go both ways. You usually can argue both ways. What's your thought? Why do you like Toledo just in general?
Sure. So numbers-wise, I do think this is just straight up from a projection standpoint. I think it should be more like 14. But I actually bet this at the opener at 19.5, and it was actually before the Notre Dame game even happened. So just before I even saw the Notre Dame Florida State game, I kind of liked the Toledo side. But when I watched the but as far as like watching the Notre Dame Florida State game, I personally still think Florida State is an absolute mess in the trenches, especially on the offensive line. I think actually Toledo is going to be able to move the ball a little bit more reasonably well than some people may expect. Just because, Florida State had obviously had some explosive plays like before Milton came in, and then obviously it changed a little bit when Milton came in. But I think Toledo's offense should be actually be able to move it decently against Notre Dame, and I bet the under 8.5 for Notre Dame season win total. So just combination of reasons, and the fact that you said you liked it up to 17, that's good enough for me. So.
Sounds good, man. We appreciate the call. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
I do know some people, by the way, that bet the over, which would kind of go in line with him thinking Toledo can move the ball. It was frustrating after watching Florida State's offensive line last year, which was great against the run, couldn't protect. Like every time they dropped back to pass, like they were just scrambling or they had to step up immediately into the pocket. They couldn't let plays develop very frequently. They got to figure that out. So if Toledo has any sort of success, limiting pressure from the Notre Dame rush, they'll be able to move it as well. I still think also in general, look, it ended up going to overtime. Florida State -3 in turnovers in regulation. I'm not counting the garbage Hail Mary interception at the end Notre Dame had. So technically they were -2, but look, that one doesn't even count. It was just a Hail Mary that got picked off. And they had the 28-yard line, 4th and 2 they went for on their own 20-something and failed and gave Notre Dame 7 points. That still went to overtime, a game that Notre Dame was +3 in the turnover department and got that gift of a 4th down failure for 7 more points. Look, I just don't think Notre Dame's very good when it's all said and done. So I'm in agreement, obviously. We talked about it yesterday. We got someone else on the line. Yeah, go ahead. Put them through. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Cheetah, it's Ty.
Hey, man. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. What do you like today?
So I had circled Miami before you talked about it just because I think they're going to bounce back and play a little bully ball against App State. What's the best number you're seeing on them right now?
8. Someone actually called in earlier, liked it as well. -8, one spot in Vegas. I can give you that.
All right. I'll take that. And then I just wanted to confirm. So my play last night in tennis, the dude was getting whooped, but he withdrew. So that's a no bet, correct?
I'm not sure if Qwan tracked that yet. What did you do it as? Did you see that he withdrew?
I had Alcaraz.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I had Alcaraz in it.
I saw it was only 2 sets. I think I gave him a loss.
Okay, then you can give him no action, just like a 0. Yeah. If he withdraws, then the bet never closes and it never is paid out either way. So
okay.
Yeah, we'll adjust that. That's good. I'm glad you said something. Otherwise, probably would have overlooked that.
I just had a quick question for you, too, regarding college football.
Yeah, fire away.
Do you think that there's any chance that a team like Oregon, I know they were pushed to the limit a little bit last week against Fresno, but is there any chance they were using 1/5 of the playbook because they have Ohio State on deck and you might see them hang around or potentially points in that game? What's your take on that?
So I have that in my little rundown for going through totals that I think are worth betting.
Okay.
Or that I have looked at. I think 2 of the 4 have moved. One of them I would still play smaller. 2 are still good at market right now, and that's one of them. I think 63.5 is worth betting over. I'll break it down a little bit more if you're able to tune in, but just real quick, I have no idea about the 1/5 of the playbook or not. They did start a little bit slow. That also, it's kind of stuff that I think, it's first game, new quarterback, first game of season. Like, it could just be starting slow regardless. Maybe it was the full playbook. This is what was the most concerning if you're a Ducks fan. I remember looking near the end of the first half. Fresno State had nearly 300 yards passing in the first half against Oregon. What is Ohio State going to do at home through the air against this Oregon defense? I had to downgrade the Oregon side defensively, and I think they can only really go up from their shaky play offensively. Whether 20% of the playbook or not, I can't really tell. But positive regression offensively and a defense that allowed 300.5 to Fresno State through the air signed me up for over 63.5. So I think we're kind of on the same page. And maybe you're right. Maybe Oregon was saving some stuff and they use it here because it is a big Ohio State game. They figured, hey, we don't need to use certain things against Fresno State. Then maybe they panicked and did use some in the second half or something, right? Because they'd actually win the game. But yeah, maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
No problem. See ya. There's someone else that just called. Cool. We can take the call. No problem. We're not in a rush. Welcome to the Last Word, Cheetah. Who am I speaking with?
Tom Davis. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, Tom?
All right. Just got out of our little procedure done, so it might be a little Lulu today for you. You might have to go quick with me. Take it easy on me today.
Okay. We also might need subtitles today, Qwan. I don't know what's going on. Tom, you been having a good day?
I just got run by 17 needles stuck in my back, so I'm headed home.
Acupuncture?
No, I had a epidural nerve block.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Facet block.
Maybe you're a little hazy. Sometimes this is when the genius comes out subconsciously. If you have like a 5-teamer you're really feeling, maybe it hits.
I got 3 of them feeling, but we done made them stop all the 3 teams.
Yeah, we're just doing one, but for your sake, I would fire a parlay just in case.
I hear you. Texas A&M. I can't decide between Texas A&M and Nebraska.
Okay. You like both of those sides, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, sir.
So I agree with the Nebraska one. I think it's a pretty good buy low on a Nebraska team that not only looked bad against Illinois, but then Illinois goes out and loses at home to Texas San Antonio. So everyone's like, wow, Nebraska must really stink. A&M Colorado, I have fair. I know some people that bet under, which would be somewhat correlated with a 17-point underdog. So I would tell you, I would go with Nebraska of those two if you needed
I've seen
a push.
some of that Colorado game, and they pretty much look like a semi-pro peewee league this year.
That bad?
I expect a lot more out of them, and they look really, really weak.
Against Northern Colorado, final score 35-7. I didn't watch it or follow it. First quarter was ugly. It looks like it was 0-0. They only threw 15 times. Interesting. Only for 102 yards. They just ran the ball a ton. So, yeah, against A&M's defense, maybe Brennan Lewis, no shot, dropping back. That's probably why some guys I know played under. They played it, back at 52, down to 50 now in most spots. So that makes sense.
All right, yeah, so lock me in with Nebraska. What do you see, 13?
13 and a half.
All right, let's go 13 and a half. As long as we can get down under that 14, I feel comfortable.
113. I apologize. There's 113. I just scoped it out. We'll give them the 13, minus 13 for Tom on Nebraska. Good luck, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Take care. You say Tone called in next? Cool. Go ahead and put him through. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Qwan's still a bitch, but I'm back.
You got to do what you got to do. I think Qwan didn't drop you this time, so you at least got that going for you.
Yeah, no, it didn't drop me 4 times today, but yesterday he was acting like a sorry-ass little bitch.
It's still early.
So we're back.
It's still early.
Yeah.
What do you have for us?
Let me get the Twins money line. Lock it in, ring it up, lock it in. Have a good day, Qwan. You're soft as shit.
Why does he hate you so much?
I have no
now?
idea. I don't. What did he say? He said I dropped him from the call.
Yesterday, like 4 times. By the way, for Minnesota, money line plus 120 is the price on the Twins. You can give him that. And that was quick. He was just like 3 or 4 like Qwan jabs.
Ooh, I like his longer calls. They're more entertaining. I don't like the upset. I'm gonna take some shots and
His philosophy is, I have time. Let's just like go through something. He starts breaking something down or goes off on a tangent, and it's good. When he doesn't have much time, he's like, "What can I do? Oh, I'll just make fun of Quan's mom," and then that's it. Like, or maybe you actually did drop him 4 times, and he's genuinely upset, and he needs a gift basket. I don't know. I'll talk to the guy off there. I still actually don't know what his Twitter handle is. You should DM me so I actually know which tone it is. There's a few Anthonys on Twitter that I've interacted with before. I don't know if...
Always angry 96.
He's going to call back now that you took that shot.
We're clear on calls.
All right. I'll jump into the totals real quick. There aren't that many. Then we'll do NFL. Let me just go ahead and pull up the screen for college. By the way, one to keep an eye on, I made a note of that I would. There's a little bit of Friday night. It's the UTEP Boise game. If you guys remember, one of the right angle plays was the UTEP New Mexico State over. Fell pretty short, but UTEP was up 30-3 early third quarter, kind of went into prevent mode. And New Mexico State had 5 drives, I believe it was, in the UTEP 25, 4 in the red zone, and they only scored 3 points. Look, the UTEP defense was bad last year, probably bad again. And this Boise State, what was it, hang half 100? Was that the Boise State thing that Colin was saying? Look, they're going to cook this UTEP D. And UTEP through the air offensively, they're okay. Like they're going to be fine. I think they can score some too. But there's 10 to 11 mile per hour winds and like 20 to 50% chance throughout the window of this game, 6:30 start time, Friday night Pacific time. It got knocked down a little bit from 57. Got to 55, knocked back up a little. There's some like disagreement. I don't think the weather's going to be enough to keep this out of range for a bit, but something to keep an eye on. I'm not in a rush because there is some wind, there's some rain. If it comes in harder Friday night, weather, there's going to be people that just auto bet all these weather games. It maybe goes to 55, 54.5 again, which is where it opened. Anyways, keeping an eye on that, but I do like over there. And next up, This is one that's way out of range, but just so people are aware, just for the information, maybe going into openers if you're watching this Sunday for week 3, Pitt, Tennessee was 52.5, 53, 53.5. Those were all way too low. Kentucky, Missouri was like 53.5, 54. That was too low, and I had it like closer to 59. So even at 56s, there's 155.5. I still think that's a worthwhile bet. Maybe go a little bit smaller, but I had this like quite a bit higher. And then the other one we just talked about was Oregon, Ohio State, which he kind of hit on it. With Oregon's offense, I think being able to make some adjustments, plus Ohio State's defense didn't necessarily look good against Minnesota anyways. And I still can't get over the fact that Fresno State had 290 yards, I believe it was, through the air in one half against Oregon. This should just be a race, man, just back and forth. Oregon, are they going to cover the 14.5? I've seen people lay 13.5s, and I've seen people take the 14.5s. It's probably spot on at 14, in my opinion, but it has gone to the Ohio State side. I believe there's even a 15. I'm passing on the side over the total. I think both defenses aren't good enough. Both offenses obviously have a ton of firepower. Maybe Anthony Brown can do something a little bit more efficient on that side. They've made too many mistakes. I think there were some penalties. Look, they cleaned some of that up. Ohio State's defense didn't look great against Minnesota. And mercy. How do you give? What did Fresno State end up with? I'm going to just look now that I have it. I know Oregon ends up pulling away. Then it was like tied. All of a sudden, Fresno State's like back in business, and Oregon ends up winning it. But Fresno State, he threw for, must have been total yards at halftime was 300. He threw for 300 so for the game. So I was a little bit wrong on the through the air. It was 300 at half overall. They ended up with nearly 400 total. Oregon locked it up basically right after the first drive, I think, of that third quarter. Defense was a lot better. So I don't know. Still have some concerns. And obviously, man, did you see Stroud in the Ohio State game at all against Minnesota?
I don't think I was paying attention early.
It was a weekday game, if I recall. Dude didn't smile. They kept talking about his poise, just calm and collected. He was almost too poised.
Yeah.
He he was bored out there, which is also kind of scary. He was just dropping dimes, doing his thing, and he looked bored. Now he's going up against Oregon. If any team probably didn't use a lot of their playbook, maybe it was against Minnesota, it was maybe Ohio State. So, man, I think there's just some upside actually from the Stroud Ohio State perspective that the demeanor and the way he approached a Minnesota game was so poisey. It was cocky. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I'm intrigued.
I mean, he probably got a good grasp of the offense. That's what you want from a young guy. And, I mean, speaking on the Oregon thing, Ohio State's probably going to hammer home what Fresno State did to them as far as a game plan. So,
sure.
Yeah, anything over the top or anything that they see on film, Oregon's probably going to get a lot of
find the holes, exploit it, and that is likely what's going to happen. All right, so those are the totals. I mentioned a couple others that I know some people that have bet, like that one under. We were just talking about a Colorado game. Rutgers-Syracuse is another one. I think I know some people that bet under there. Trying to think if there was anything else. I feel like there was one more I made it, and I didn't bet it myself, but I know some guys that got involved. If I think of it, I will let you guys know. But that wraps up for that. We didn't have anyone call in the meantime, right? All right, you want to run the NFL graphic up there? Whenever they call, you can just take it then, and I can go back and forth here. But here we go. So someone asked for a recap from NFL features over, like we did for college football after we went through all of the conferences and teams. This is the NFL. Again, Washington was early on, over 8. If you can still get minus 140s on over 8, I know there is a book that has that legally in the U.S., and there's probably some other ones that can have something similar. We talked about it with Drew quite a bit. After Tampa Bay, comparing the NFC with the AFC, look, AFC has a ton of good teams. You're probably not taking a shot on what could be the 7th, 8th, 9th best team in the conference and winning and getting through that gauntlet through the AFC playoffs. What you could do is take a shot on a team like Washington, or you can put it back up, Qwan. It's all good. It was Atlanta as the other one that you can get as high as 50-1 in the NFC. I'll tell you guys again why I'm pretty high in Atlanta, but after Tampa Bay, I mean, I think it's pretty open. So that NFC is the conference you want to take a shot. Washington and Atlanta are kind of my two teams in that tier that are worthwhile, and Atlanta over 7.5. There's a spot that you can bet on plus 400 to make the playoffs. This didn't fit on the graphic, or Qwan missed it, so adjustment to make the playoffs as a wild card. Have to clarify that, because to make the playoffs is more like plus 275. This is as a wild card. This is like, hey, Tampa Bay's winning the division often enough, but the Falcons make the playoffs. It's probably going to be as a wild card frequently enough that, hey, I'd rather take the 4-1 as opposed to plus 275 or plus 250 even some spots. So just wanted to clarify that. No one's going to be able to find plus 400 to make the playoffs. It's to make the playoffs as a wild card. If you can get plus 275 and you don't have access to that bet, that's also fine too. That'll just be if they make the playoffs at all. But yeah, I just think the Arthur Smith ad and everything going on. And here, actually had a friend leave the graphic up because he sent me, we were talking to Atlanta, and I was like, man, this 50-1, it's just too high. Remember Atlanta blew 5 fourth quarter leads. They were up a bunch of like 2 minutes left. Just Dallas Cowboys won is one everyone remembers. The Cowboys were kicking onside kicks over and over. Atlanta found a way to blow a 3-score lead late. Here we go. This is a little breakdown. So, in 2019, Dan Quinn fired the defensive coordinator. He took over the play calling. Atlanta started that season 1-7, and the D ranked 31st in EPA. To save his job, he relinquished the play calling, and Atlanta actually finished the season 6-2 with the 4th best D in the NFL. Then last year, Atlanta starts out ranking 30th in EPA, allowed in their first 5 games, and then he gets fired. So when he was calling the idea is like, hey, he was trying to take control of what they were doing defensively, and it just wasn't working. When he relinquished the plays, they were 4th in the EPA and went 6-2 when it didn't really matter as much either, by the way, down the stretch of the 2019 season. And then last year, look, he was awful through 5 games. Defense also improved. So I believe the rest of the way they were actually an above-average defense last year after those first 5 after Quinn left. So if they're a lot better defensively when Quinn isn't in charge, expect that. I love the Arthur Smith offense potential there. We've talked about that plenty as well. And they also face a top 5 easiest strength of schedule. I believe it's the 4th easiest projects to be versus some of the Vegas projections on their opponents. So bullish Atlanta. And then the Bengals one is interesting. I think Jags is like a share number. So is Bengals. But honestly, real quick, I guess on the Jags, like Urban Meyer, we talked about it a little bit. Maybe it just doesn't work in the NFL. Worked in college for a while, kind of caught up to him in college. Those preseason games were brutal, dude. We talked about that one, the Trevor Lawrence against the Saints. We're going to go first half up-tempo. Our offense will be in sync. Urban Meyer saying that before the game publicly, and then they can't score, especially for an entire quarter, 5 possessions against the Saints backups in the second quarter, just no shot. So I like the under there. The Bengals, though, man, this is one we talked about at Zach Taylor. I told that story about him coming from the Rams. Remember, he was a QB assistant coach with McVay for a year. Before that, he was the receivers assistant, and before that, he was the OC at Cincinnati. The only year he's ever called plays, and then went 1-7 in the AAC. This reporter at ESPN I spoke with, like Zach Taylor was just riding the McVay coattails for whatever reason. People think maybe he picked up something from McVay. I don't think he has. I think he stinks. Now, what have we seen the last 2 years? Not great. They don't really run a ton of pre-snap motion or play action. They don't put their team and their offense in favorable positions or spots. And so here we are, 6.5 with a schedule that we went through is like ridiculously hard. But Zach Taylor, we looked it up. You were like, maybe he's plus 120 to be the first coach fired. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
I listened back to find it today. He was 12-1 to be the first coach fired. So maybe that's worth a flyer, because if you remember, we pull up the schedule. I don't have it in front of me. So it's Bears on the road. No, hold on a second. Vikings, Bears on the road, Steelers. Then they have the Jaguars game. Remember that Jaguars game I was saying? They're at home. If they're 0-3 at that point and they lose to like Urban Meyer and the Jaguars, and it's like the Jaguars' first win, then they have to play the Packers on the road against Detroit, Ravens. Like if they're 0-4, like he's on the hot seat, he might just be anyways. Yeah. And I think he's the type of guy that just you pull the plug as quick as you need to, rebuild. You have a young team with some talent. So they lose that Jags game 12-1 that after week 4 he's fired, or week 5 when they lose by 20 to the Packers or something like that the following week. I think it's value. There's a few books that offer it. So think it's worth a shot. Anything on these that you want to mention? Clarify, agree, disagree? I know you did some football previews yourself, but
the Falcons look. It's like you said, man. They went, was it 5 games where they were in it. They were ahead, and then some onside kicks. They were playing lax, and they just lost.
I believe the stat. You know what Pythagorean wins are?
We talked about this last time.
I think I asked you, and you didn't really know.
No.
It's when you take the amount of points you scored, the amount of points you allowed, and you should have an expected amount of wins over the course of the season. The Falcons last year had the third biggest discrepancy in their actual wins versus their Pythag expected wins in the history of the NFL, like since they tracked it in the merger over 40 years ago. So they were one of the teams that underachieved, just looking at their win-loss versus their actual underlying numbers, more so than any team of the last 40-plus years. And they're probably better offensively with a coach that did wonders with Tennessee. Play calling, schematically, love it, great. And defensively, we talked about how good they are when Quinn wasn't in charge the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Lose Julio, I don't know. They're still in fine shape there. They got Ridley, and they have Pitts they just drafted as a tight end option, which, look, that's been like the bread and butter for Kansas City the last few years and how they're calling stuff. Atlanta, I think there's just a huge ceiling for Atlanta that's just not in the plain, public eye. And by the way, that total was 7 a lot of the summer. It's 7.5 now. By the time we did the preview, it was 7.5. So we'll track it, so to speak, at 7.5. But the fact that people in the market bet this up from 7 to 7.5 should also be telling. Love the Falcons.
You believe in Matt Ryan?
Why not?
Yeah.
He's done it before.
And
he had good. He had Sark calling plays, like an actual offensive mind. They went to the Super Bowl, and they should have won it, right?
Yeah.
Now you have a defense that should be improved and an offense that should be schematically much improved there. Matt Ryan has the talent and ability. What is he, 37 or 38 years old now? It's not like quarterbacks are playing until they're 41, 42. Brady even obviously longer than that. He's okay. He's not maybe prime Ryan, but definitely serviceable enough to get into the playoffs. And you're holding a 50-1 that they win 2 games and they're facing Tampa, maybe a team they're going to be familiar with from having played already in the division. Something crazy happens, weirder things happen. You can maybe even hedge at some point if you want. Look, it's just too high. I think Atlanta has some real high upside, and then also probably a team that could fall flat on their face and make me look stupid. But sometimes that's the type of bet when it comes to futures that you want to be trying to attack. You kind of smiled.
Oh man, that's why they pay you the big bucks.
They pay me the big bucks, man. I should have just retired after last weekend college football. Last word cheat is out. Never happening again. All right. If anyone wants to call in, anyone on?
No.
I'll give them a minute. 661-515-BETS if anyone wants to get a call in here at the buzzer. If not, we'll cut, take a few minutes break. We have Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinaire Day 1. Anyone can call in, get a trivia question, answer, and pick a baseball winner tonight, and you'll have a chance to ladder up for $25,000. And then at 3 o'clock, in just over an hour, Steam Morning with Right Angle Sports, releasing a college football pick. They are 2-1 so far, so we'll get into that. Phone lines, nothing? All right, we'll wind this down. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your calls. This is Last Word Cheetah, brought to you as always by Bets TV. Thank you, Qwan. We'll talk to you guys in a few minutes with Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire.